Before we begin, viewer discretion is advised. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Throw Lexie Hull to the back burner. Sophie Cunningham comes back from injury, you throw Lexie Hull to the back burner. If you think Lexie Hull and her agent are not thinking about this, you have another thing coming. And if you think you are going to be able to get Lexie Hull back for dirt cheap, you have lost your mentals.
She broke down on live TV Lexie Hull, betrayed and blindsided for all to see. The truth, the WNBA commissioner, and even her own coach decided she no longer fit their plan. But what they didn't expect changed everything.
We cannot afford to lose. I've been preaching on that. I've been telling y'all, Lexie Hull is a big part of the system. I feel like we need to focus on keeping her by any means necessary. The article goes on to say, after coming within a single win of reaching the WNBA Finals, the Indiana Fever.
Caitlin Clark stood up and said, "You can't do this, not to her, not to my teammate." This time, Caitlin wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for Lexie Hull, for her team, and for the truth the WNBA tried to hide. Before we dive in, do you think Lexie Hull deserves better? Comment stand with Lexie below, hit that like button, and let's uncover what's really happening in Indiana. It all started with a decision that stunned everyone. Lexie Hull, one of the hardest working players on the Indiana Fever, was suddenly benched. Then, live on TV, she was told, "You're out of the rotation." Her reaction set it all: disbelief, pain, and humiliation. Fans were outraged. Why her? They asked. Why target a player who's given everything for her team? Behind the scenes, insiders say this wasn't about performance. It was about control. The WNBA wanted to send a message to keep Caitlin Clark in check. And Lexie Hull became the target.
Straight up disrespected her. They acted as if Lexie Hull was not a part of the core four who helped turn this team around. It wasn't just CCAB and Kelsey. No, Lexie Hull was a huge part of that.
They started cutting the people closest to her. Everyone knew Lexie Hull and Caitlin Clark's bond was real on the court and off. They had each other's backs. But the league didn't like that. They saw unity. They saw strength. And to them, that was a threat. Slowly, Caitlin's circle began to shrink, teammates cut, ignored, pushed aside while the commissioner and certain executives pretended nothing was happening. But Caitlin noticed. She saw the pattern. And when Lexie became the next target, she snapped. "She's not going anywhere," Caitlin said behind closed doors. "You cut Lexie, you lose everything." Her words echoed through the locker room, not as a threat, but as a promise. Caitlin Clark knows her worth. She is the face of the league, the reason fans are watching, buying tickets, and keeping the WNBA alive. Yet the league treated her teammates like they were disposable. "Why punish the people who support me?" she asked. No one had an answer, only silence and guilt written on every face.
It got here. Stephanie White came to the Indiana Fever and straight up disregarded everything Lexie Hull did the year before. You came in, you brought DeWanna the Scammer Bonner. You started her, she's 59 and a half years old in her 38th WNBA season. You decide to start her, give her a max contract, and throw Lexie Hull to the back burner. You think Lexie Hull don't remember that? You think Lexie don't remember that? All of a sudden, DeWanna Bonner quits on the team. She's no-showing.
Scene 4, the breaking point. Then came the breaking news. Reports began to leak whispers of a so-called plan from the front office to restructure the Fever roster ahead of the 2026 expansion draft. On paper, it sounded professional, but insiders said it was personal. Head coach Stephanie White had reportedly clashed with Caitlin Clark several times over team control. And when Lexie Hull stood up for Caitlin during a heated practice, that was the final straw. She was labeled a distraction. A player once praised for loyalty suddenly became a problem. The commissioner? She looked the other way. Then came that game, the moment everyone saw. Lexie Hull sitting on the bench, eyes brimming with tears. Cameras zoomed in. The announcer's voice trembled. Something's going on with the Fever bench. You could feel it, the tension, the betrayal, the silence. Caitlin Clark turned her head, stone-faced. She knew. After the game, she finally spoke out. "I'm not okay with what's happening. You can't treat players like that." That one sentence broke the internet. Justice for Lexie began trending within hours as fans flooded WNBA pages demanding answers. Why is the commissioner silent? Why is the coach still here? The questions grew louder. Even WNBA owners began to question leadership because the truth was out. This wasn't about basketball anymore. It was about control. Control over who speaks, who shines, and who survives. When reporters asked Caitlin what comes next, she looked straight into the camera and said, "I don't care about their politics. I care about my team, and Lexie is part of that team." That line hit like a bomb. Behind the scenes, executives panicked. Sponsors called. Networks demanded answers. Because when Caitlin Clark speaks, the world listens.